Hello everybody. Just coming back here to show you a little bit of the progress on my Teac Model 5. I've basically pulled all of the strips, and you've seen some of the, or maybe by the magic of editing you will be seeing, I'm not sure what order I'll put it in. But I pulled every strip, pulled every knob, soaked all of this stuff, cleaned all the electronics, channel by channel by channel, bus by bus by bus, and I've since put it all back together and tested everything. And I've done all that just for the main mixer. Of course, the expander, still pretty gross and dirty. This is kind of why I wanted to do this video really quick, is just so I could show you, maybe without it being that far away, it's not super obvious, so I'll grab the camera, bear with me here, and you can see, like, look at the difference, that just like a little bit of soaking and a little bit of scrubbing, see how grody and disgusting things were, how much nicer. There's still a bit of staining, but that's just, you know, this thing's 60 years old, so probably never gonna be perfect again. And so yeah, I'm gonna be focused mainly on getting the primary main mixer in perfect, cleaned up working order before I move on to the expander. So yeah, I'm gonna primarily be focused on getting the main mixer totally cleaned up and as good as I can possibly get it, and then I'll move on to the expander after. That way I at least have this core to start the building of the studio around while this one's being redone. So I took all the knobs and sliders off of the Model 5, and I've had them soaking here in some dish soap and what was originally hot water for, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours now. I've been occasionally giving it a shake, and I thought this might be kind of gross, so I'm gonna record what the water looks like as I take them out of it. I don't know, hopefully it's cool. Oh, looks pretty gross. Let's look. Can't really see, but let me just take this down. This. There you go. That's, you know, 50 years worth of gunk on some knobs. And didn't even scrub them, just soaked for a few hours and shook it around. That's pretty disgusting. But let's see what they look like after we rinse everything off. Yeah, honestly, they look a lot better. I think that's pretty good. They were so dirty before that I honestly I feel like I couldn't even see the white ticks. I was kind of just going by the place of the line. This is only off the main unit, not off the expander. So I'm gonna go grab a knob off the expander, we can compare. Okay, I was a little bit wrong. You can see the little white tick, but you can also see that you can kind of just barely see it versus this guy. Yeah, really glad I did that. You can see all that grime versus all that nice and clean. I know the newer ones have little colored tops. Wish mine had that, but I think that's one of the differences on the 5 versus the 5B, is you didn't get the nicer looking tops until the 5B. So who knows? I had the thought that maybe I could just brush some paint on the very top edges there. Might try 1 or 2 just to see how it looks, but probably not worth it. Might end up looking janky. Okay, so I figured I'd just kind of record what I'm gonna do to one strip at least. You can see how gross that panel is. I realized I should have popped these off and done them at the same time as the knobs, but it's not too late. I'll go ahead and pull these, throw them down in there. I think I'm gonna do these little clear washers too, because I mean, look how gross that is. Disgusting. And this whole board will be contact cleaned and properly dried before it ever gets powered back on, so little drops of water aren't going to bother anything really. I can see we're loose. There we go. Just gonna work with it a little bit. See, pretty, looks to me like there's been some spillage. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised, but yeah. So we'll clean this, get it looking all nice, hopefully anyway. Got a little bit of soap in there. Get those guys soaking for now. See this sort of discoloration, but I think it's just kind of permanently stained. But as long as there's no like big sticky grime anymore, I'll be happy. Yeah, this is a lot better. Big improvement. Yeah, so we can see kind of how filthy all around the switch and all that. And you can kind of see back in there all that lint all over the contacts. I guess you can't really see the contacts, but just a lot of stuff back in there. I know I said before there was some goopy stuff. I'm realizing that's probably just flux from when they soldered the board originally, considering that it's coming out through the holes where they would have soldered. But not all of the boards look that dirty, but I'm not worried about it now that I'm kind of pretty sure that's what it is. What I think I'll do is I'll just hit all these switches with contact cleaner, and then I have deoxit fader lube that I'll put on the fader, and the green stuff that I'll drop into the potentiometers, hopefully get them feeling smooth, and I'll just do that for all 8 channels and 4 buses and everything. Just kind of get everything real nice and clean. All right, so we've got button covers and those little clear plastic things from all of the 8 main channels over here soaking. I did them first in some dish soap like I did the other knobs, and that got them super clean, but I noticed they're very yellowed and gross, so I'm doing a second pass in some OxyClean, see if we can get them brightened up a bit. Then taking the board that has everything removed, I've hit deoxit inside all these switches, inside the trim pots a bit, inside all these switches, inside of this knob, inside of the slider. Everything's starting to feel a lot more smooth and easy to actuate. But you can see there's all this kind of gunk here, so the next thing I'm gonna do is Q-tip with alcohol. They didn't want to move. And now we got nice, easy switching on all of them. That one's a little hard to get to the right, but nice, easy turning knobs. Everything's feeling pretty good. Morning, everybody. Just wanted to do a quick video of how I've been cleaning up these strips here. I've done all of the 8 input channels, basically like I described a little bit earlier. And now that I'm going through the buses, I've got everything pulled apart. The parts are soaking and getting clean, and I've cleaned the face plates. But this is what I did with all 8 of the other channels, and realized I should probably just document it real quick. I had these old clothes racks sitting on my porch for a while that I meant to take to trash, but now they're getting used as a nice cleaning rack for my channel strips. And yeah, I just basically lay them out here, and then I go through the switches with contact cleaner. Then I'll flip it over and hit this other side of the switches. Can't really get into the pots from this side, so just getting into both sides of the switches to make sure everything's nice and clean. And then the button here, I'll hit from the top also. And just as I spray things, I then, come back and flip and toggle. Just kind of move stuff around. Flip the switches back and forth a bit. Already, one thing I noticed when I first picked it up, a lot of the switches I couldn't even move. I think I mentioned this before. And now they're all the ones on the channel strips, at least, I can just easily flip back and forth. These aren't nearly as gunked up as those were, but it's still nice to get them cleaned up. Turn the pots. Some of the pots, especially, yeah, like this, the ones that are dual gang are really, really tight and need some love. I'm not spraying the contact cleaner in the faders. I'm gonna wait. I haven't really been putting the contact cleaner in the faders. I just use the green deoxit fader lube on the faders. Yeah, these dual gang pots are so tight. It's like they're full of sludge. But they're after that, after just a little bit of spray, there's still a bit of tension, but at least they don't feel gritty anymore. A lot of them were really, really crusty feeling. That extra kind of bit of damping, that's really not that big of a deal. Just maybe make it a little more precise as I make adjustments when I'm using it. And yeah, the contact cleaner evaporates pretty quickly, leaves no residue or anything. And so I'll just leave these out here for a little while and let that all dry up while I go do other stuff for my actual job that pays for all of this. Been maybe like an hour or so of these guys sitting out here. just letting that contact cleaner, anything evaporate. And switches are feeling nice and smooth now. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is hit the faders with Teac at F5. So we're just kind of put it in there. Slide everybody back and forth. I kind of like to, flip it around, make sure the stuff kind of slides around and everywhere. Got the boards brought back inside. Everything's nice and dry, no residue or anything. All nice and clean. Feeling pretty good about it, so I'm gonna be putting it all back together. So I figured I'd just might as well record that too. These pretty simple. They just slide on here and totally forgot I have a blank one, so I'll go get that tray as well. The neat thing is it's actually the whole same plastic piece, just with a solid metal. It is glued on there pretty good, so you couldn't really like just take off the cover. I don't think you'd probably destroy it. But you could always like drill a hole if you wanted to put something in that, a custom spot or something, maybe. Metal. It's the exact same metal panel as these. They're all identical. Same holes. You can see even like these are the buses, but the knobs are placed such that you reuse the same plastic panel for everything. That's pretty neat. Pretty smart design, really. One thing is that not all of these had these clear, or even this one was dark. All of them have these little clear washers. Not sure why. I tried to go rob some off of the expander just to have all of the ones on the main unit have the washers. And then we got a button that just presses on there. But none of the channels on the expander have washers. So it makes me wonder if maybe somebody put these on here after the fact, like their own little mod to protect it. Not sure. But I do think they seem rather smart, right? To keep the pots clean. So I might try to find some and put in there because as you can see, I only had enough for like 1.5. And then it's easier to put the knobs on once the strips are in the machine. So I'm gonna go drop these in the machine. And all that's really left then is to do the main output strip and the talkback strip. So I'll do those, and then we'll be pretty much done with all the main channel strips of the main board. And then I want to look into getting into the back of it to see if I can replace the lamps on the view meters.